Varsity Club, welcome back to another classic. I've been reading the comments and look, the streets are telling me one thing. We want a franchise series, GGB. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, for a little bit I thought, I don't really know if I have time or do I even want to do that. And to be fair, as much as I enjoy doing franchise series, MLB The Show 22 put very little effort into franchise mode this year. But that being said, I'm a storyteller at heart. I want to go ahead and give you guys a story. So without any further ado, meet your brand new franchise team. That's right, our MLB The Show 22 franchise team will be the Baltimore Orioles, the 28th out of 30th ranked team. The only teams that are worse are the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Oakland Athletics, who had spent like $12 in a bag of chips in their roster. Now we are playing on simulation, not doing a fantasy draft or anything. Maybe we'll do a fantasy draft franchise at some point if you guys don't want to see that. DH we're leaving on, as well as extra inning runner, and then CPU trading is obviously on, and we're keeping everything else pretty much default. Now, if you look at this roster, it is lay tough, as the French say. We have Cedric Mullins, who is a major piece and we want to obviously keep. He's a rising star and a guy that we obviously want to keep in this roster. We have Austin Hayes in left field. We have John Means at our starting pitcher and Ryan Mountcastle and Trey Mancini, as well as Jorge Mateo. That part is honestly pretty good. Some of these pieces might be moving. Mancini, I think, is a really good clubhouse guy. We at least want to keep unless we get like a stupid good offer for him. If you look at sort of his contract, he's hitting free agency. So as much as I love Trey Mancini and he's got a great story, there's probably a chance we move him to a contender to allow him to at least try to win a championship, because we're going to be a couple years. But one of the bright spots is that if you look at the top prospects list, obviously Bobby Witt Jr. is the #1 prospect. Adley Rutschman, who was on our team as a catcher, is right up there as well, who's in AAA, but we're going to have him in the majors really shortly. And Grayson Rodriguez as well, who's a starting pitcher. So again, there's a little bit of talent at the top of the prospect list. And before someone else yells at me, yes, we have Colton Cowser as well, a center fielder, 22 years old. He's in AA. He's got a while before he gets in the majors, but again, somebody to look out for. Now, me being the franchise mogul that I am, I got to bring a little bit of money to the franchise. So we're going to be earning a couple of things here to make sure that we're bringing in some cash. So what we're only going to rock this year is for the in-game ticker, we're getting $30,000 per win, thanks to the Jordan brand. For the active replay, we're going to rock New Balance, which will give us $20,000 per stolen base. We're going to have some speed in this roster. And then for the batter walk-up, we're going to have Easton, who gives us $2,500 per strikeout. That's pitching, not the strikeouts that we ultimately have at the plate. Now, one of the first trades we're doing is probably going to make a couple of people say, what, GGB, what are you doing? Keston Hiura is a guy that I think has a ton of potential. He's still 25 years of age. He did a really good first season. His sophomore year was, let's say, not great, but he's a guy that I ultimately believe in. We have an older third baseman that's not really getting much playing time in Kelvin Gutierrez. We also have Tyler Nevin, who's behind Mountcastle and Mancini. Again, Mancini likely gone. I don't really think Nevin's going to be that guy for us at this point. But here is a guy that I think if we give him the right opportunity, especially to be an everyday guy, that he can absolutely shine. So we're making a trade for him. Now, I get what you're probably saying. Well, GGB, you have Jorge Mateo at second base. He's still a fairly young guy, but again, this dude's on a 1-year contract. He's going to enter arbitration, but I think we want to try to get something for him while we can right now, because he is going to cost us a little bit more, which isn't the end of the world. But I really think between Keston Hiura and Jahmai Jones, we'll have a little bit of room that we can work with at second base. But I think Hiura's going to be the guy. Now, again, as we look around the league, there's something we see. Third base is a place that we need to get a little bit younger and have some young talent there. Nolan Gorman, I think, is going to be that guy from the St. Louis Cardinals, almost said the Arizona Cardinals. Jorge Mateo, we're going to be moving right now for Gorman. Again, a younger guy with a lot of upside, playing a different position. We have a second baseman that potentially could work out. Now we have a third baseman that I think will be the future. Jorge for Nolan. Let's make it happen. Now, what we have at third base is Rougned Odor, who's known probably more so for fighting than he is his ultimate baseball skill. But at this point, Rougned Odor is going to be a guy that I don't really believe in long term. Gorman and Toby Welk will be the guys that are really getting the shine there. So Rougned Odor, it's time to move him. Now, one of the trades that caught my eye for Rougned Odor was the Yankees, who I believe he actually went and played for at least for one season or half a season, for Luis Medina, a dude that throws absolute gas and I think has an opportunity to be a really, really good pitcher down the line. So Medina for Rougned Odor. Again, we're not going to be trying to win anything crazy in the first year. It's about building for the future. And Medina, I think, is a big part of that future. I feel like part of what we're doing here, too, is sort of a redemption tour for some guys that have high upside, but also a whole lot of risk as well. Amir Garrett is a guy that has sort of fallen off the map a little bit, but he still throws premium gas, and I want that on my team. So Dean Creamer, a guy that probably won't be anywhere near the starting rotation, or should not be near the starting rotation. We're getting rid of him. We're bringing in Amir Garrett, and we're going to try to give our bullpen a little bit more spice. Now, the deal that is the creme de la creme, I think, of what we're doing. Trey Mancini again, who is a major part of Baltimore. I do not want to lose this guy, but It's going to be really difficult to sign him in the offseason, and honestly, I don't want to put him through a rebuild. I want him to go to a team that gives him an opportunity to win, and I think a team that gives him an opportunity to win is the Padres. They have a CJ Abrams, a very young, talented shortstop, who's the third shortstop on their depth chart right now between Kim and then obviously Tatis Jr., who's incredibly talented and young. Rather than have Abrams try to fight for a little bit of playing time, we're going to bring him on over here to Baltimore and let him shine. Now, there's one thing that I'm not afraid to do, is to go out there and, spend a little bit of money. Now, quite young Kim is a dude that was playing for the Cardinals, and then he went back over to play in the Korean Baseball League, but we want to bring him back to the States. We're going to sign him on a 4-year, actually, maybe not a 4-year deal, because this man's a little old. Let's give him a 2-year deal because he's 33 years of age, because we don't really need him super long. 2 years, $2.2 million. We'll give him an opportunity to play on this roster again and prove that, honestly, he can get it done in the majors. And another guy we want to give an opportunity to come back and at least pitch a little bit is going to be Johnny Cueto. There's not a lot to super love here in terms of the free agency pitching, but Cueto's the guy that we know can get the job done. I don't want him for anything more than a year. I know he's not super interested in that, but we'll spice it up a little bit more money and see what he ultimately says. So 1 year, $3.8 million, he'll sign that contract. Who wouldn't? And honestly, our roster feels like we've got it to a really good spot, but there are 2 players that I'm going to be happy to introduce you guys that happen to become from a little university known as Cascade Valley. First up, you're going to see Jimmy Bumhauer, who is going to be a starting pitcher that is working his way through the AA ranks. This guy, I think, has a lot of potential. He's got really good speed in that fastball, 97. He's got a lot of pitches here with a curveball, slider, changeup, and forkball. But there's a lot of work to be done. And then we also have the overly charismatic Enrique Bowser wearing #number 69. Bowser is a switch-hitting first baseman that can also play left or right field. He's got a little bit more speed than people might imagine, but this dude is massive. 6'4", 248 pounds. If he connects with the bat, this ball's gone. And then one of the last moves we're going to be making is Joey Crable. I don't know how to say his name. We're removing him from the 40-man roster because there's somebody more important that needs to be here. And that player that so happens to be Mr. Adley Rutschman. It's about time. Look, we're not doing the whole thing like, oh, we're working on moving him, blah, blah, blah. No, he's on the 40-man roster. We're moving him immediately to the major leagues. I don't care about the whole control time, whatever some Major League Baseball teams play. We want this dude on our team now. Now, to give you a look at what our starting lineup is going to look like, it's not pretty. I'm going to be honest. We have Ramon Urias, we have Keston, we have Cedric Mullins, Ryan Mountcastle, Nolan Gorman, Anthony Santander, Austin Hayes, DJ Stewart, and then Adley Rutschman is going to be batting, I think, 9th at this point. We could obviously put Rutschman up a little bit higher, but I kind of like him batting 9th because it allows him to really be a second leadoff hitter for us. So our starting pitching rotation isn't exactly something to be super proud of, but here's what we got. We got John Means, who, should be our ace this year. Kwang-Hyun Kim, who's going to be, again, on a 2-year contract for us. Johnny Cueto, Jordan Lyles, and D.O. Hall, who I'm excited to have him as a part of the rotation. If you're wondering where Luis Medina is, we're going to have him in AAA to start the year. Then our bullpen, which is also not super great, but we have Keegan Aiken, Jorge Lopez, Dylan Tate, Tanner Scott, Amir Garrett, who we expect to use a lot in short bursts because of his incredible gas that he throws. Bruce Zimmerman moves from the rotation into the bullpen. Tyler Wells, Paul Fry, and then Cole Sulser, who should be really one of the bright spots we have in our bullpen. There is one last deal we're making because I'm just now realizing that CJ Abrams is not actually starting, and we have Ramon Urias in front of him. Again, this is all about getting some young talent, some opportunities to play, and let them go out there and just make some plays. So, Ramon Urias, Drew Rom for Sixto Sanchez. The Marlins are historically known for getting rid of guys that are coming up on contracts they don't ultimately want to pay for. Sixto Sanchez is a guy that sort of underperformed but been good too, and we're really to take a gamble. So Marlins, we'll take some of that payroll and we'll make sure this dude gets a long-term contract and you get some guys that can fill your roster. So with that trade, we're actually going to make an adjustment to the starting rotation. We're going to have John Means still, Kim, Cueto, and it's now going to be Sanchez in the 4th spot with D.O. Hall there. We ended up moving Jordan Lyles to the bullpen because, again, our bullpen could obviously use some extra arms, but also because I want to make sure that D.O. Hall gets an opportunity to start this year. He is going to be the future of this franchise from the pitching standpoint, along with hopefully Jimmy Bumhauer if he ends up being good too. But honestly, D.O. Hall needs to be in the starting lineup, so we're going to see what he has this year. So now what our starting lineup looks like, which I feel a little bit better about. I knew something was missing. CJ Abrams is going to be leading off with great speed, and again, a guy that could really be a franchise player for us. Castihura, a guy that has, Lord knows, a whole lot to prove. Mullins, Mountcastle, Gorman, Santander, Hayes, DJ Stewart, and then Adley Rutschman. This is a roster that honestly I can get a little bit excited about. And then you sort of just look down the line and where this team ultimately could be in 2024, in 2025, in 2026. This team could be really, really interesting. We've got a lot of talent. We're going to be scouting like crazy because Lord knows we're going to have some good draft picks the next 2 years. But honestly, you see Bowser, you see Cowser, you see Kerstad, however you say his name, Mountcastle, Norby they have there. They don't really have Keston there. Maybe he pans out, maybe he doesn't. Grayson Rodriguez, Sixto, DL, Jimmy Bumhauer's up there, Luis Medina. Like, you're seeing the vision of what we put together in this roster. Now, the vision is one thing, but can we actually execute it? Well, that is going to be the big challenge. And if you take a moment to look at our player salaries, we've got pretty much 36 mil on the books for 2022. And then in 2023 is only $1 million on the books with nothing really promised past that. This season, we will make sure we sign some long-term deals and figure out who should be here long-term, who should not. Jordan Lyles is going to be up for free agency. We're going to see Johnny Cueto up for free agency. Maybe he's probably not going to get re-signed if I have to imagine. But a lot of these guys are going to be arbitration with some guys that really are, hit or miss people. We'll figure it out, but again, this is the exciting part of this team. And with where you look at how our team is set up now, that we've got those guys from CVU, that we have some more talent we've pulled in. Again, we're going to see Ali Rushman at 5. We're going to see Grayson Rodriguez at 7. We're going to see Enrique Bowser at 13, with CJ Abrams at 14 now. Again, we've got a major core for this team. And maybe there's some guys we acquire over time, but with Cowser there in center field and Dio Hall at starting pitcher, we now have significantly more talent in that top 50, which means that our team is honestly built for success as long as these guys prove out. This Orioles team has an insane amount to prove, but honestly, with all this young talent we have, I'm excited. We are not going to play every game of this franchise. We're going to play a game here and there. We're going to skip ahead. We'll play some critical situations. We'll play some big games for people and some milestone moments. But again, this is going to be a franchise that takes a couple of episodes to get through a season, and then we keep things moving. And if you're enjoying this series, do me a favor, leave a thumbs up. Tell me you're enjoying it in the comments down below. Give me your constructive criticism in the comments. I love hearing that stuff. Don't be a sausage finger Mervin. Get ready for an incredible ride with the Baltimore Orioles as we try to make them from being a team that's really fallen out of being relevant to a team that everybody's talking about for good reason. Be safe, be smart, tell somebody you love them. Catch you guys on the next one.